Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. I'm guest designing for the Not Too Shabby shop using their brand new masculine mini bundle. This bundle is perfect to make cards for men and women, anyone who loves the rugged outdoors. And for a limited time, I have a special offer for you. Use the code RUGGED10 to save 10% off this release. And I do have a link in the description box below. So let me show you everything that's included in the masculine mini bundle. First up is the stamp set. It's called the Great Outdoors Sentiments. Lots of great sentiments. I love this top one. Keep calm and go fishing. It has the silhouette of someone fishing and even a fish hanging off the line. Next up is the 6x6 paper pad. There are 24 sheets, 12 different designs. It's called Grit and Grunge. This is a great collection. It's very unique. Sometimes it's hard to find masculine collections. It includes dark tones, the look of texture, although all of the papers are smooth, has this very distressed look. The papers are double-sided, but with 12 different designs, you have lots of options. If you don't like one side, you can always use the opposite side. There are several different stripe papers. There's a grid design. I love the look of the torn paper. That's one of my favorites. There are greens, rust colors, a little bit of blue, and lots of browns. So there's a look at all of the papers in the Grit and Grunge paper collection. As much as I love using beautiful floral images and lots of pink, it's always nice to have a good masculine paper pad. So I'll set aside the paper, and the next item that's included is the Ephemera pack. And there are 24 ephemera pieces included, and they all have these beautiful outdoor images. The pack is called Rustic Outdoorsman. There are 2 of each image, and I'll try to match them up as I lay them out. So we have pictures of camping, there's fishing, hiking, kayaking. There are multiple pictures of the same outdoor activity, just a different perspective. For example, on the fishing image, some of them they're facing right and the others they're facing left. The squares are all the same size, about 2 1/4 of an inch, and the colors on the ephemera match the pattern paper beautifully. So there's a look at all the different ephemera pieces. The final item that's included in the masculine mini bundle is a set of enamel dots, and the colors match the pattern paper beautifully. This set includes 6 different colors in 3 different sizes, and there's a total of 84 enamel dots. And these are really nice since they're not super thick, so they won't add a lot of extra dimension. Now here's another look at all 4 items that are included in the masculine mini bundle. Now for my cards, I'll also be using another stamp set, and this is not part of the masculine mini bundle. It's called Mini Messages. And this is a great sentiment set. It includes a wide variety of sentiments that you could use throughout the year. If you are interested in this stamp set or the masculine mini bundle, I do have links in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started on the cards. I have 5 different card designs to share. I will be using card sketches for inspiration. The first sketch is from Paper Play Sketches. It's number 49. And if you are interested in any of these sketches, including measurements, I share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. For the background of my card, selected one of the striped papers. For that smaller square piece, this is one of the darker distressed looking designs. Underneath that square piece, I'm adding a small label die cut, and this die is from Jaded Blossom. It's their label shape dies set number 1. You only see a tiny bit of it peeking out underneath. I'll layer everything on some dark brown cardstock, and this is cardstock from my stash. The background piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and the cardstock layer is an additional 1/8 of an inch. After adding my card front onto a card base, you'll see an 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now I'll bring in one of the ephemera pieces, and I will layer it on the same dark brown cardstock. Before adhering it down, I'm adding 2 scrap pieces of cardstock on the very left side, just in the area where it goes off of that pattern paper square. That way it stays at the same level. Then I'll put barely art glue on the back and adhere the ephemera piece in place. For a sentiment, I've already stamped this out. You deserve all the best. I used brown ink, stamped it on some craft cardstock, and this sentiment is included on the mini message sentiment set. I thought it would be perfect for a Father's Day card. Before adhering the sentiment down, I am putting a scrap piece of cardstock on the right side, and the left side of the sentiment will sit on the ephemera piece. For a final finishing touch, I'll add some of the enamel dots, putting 2 in the upper right-hand corner and 3 in the lower left-hand corner. Now these do have adhesive on the back, but I like to add a little extra glue just to make sure they don't fall off later. I bring cards to the residents at a nearby retirement home, and I'll need a bunch of Father's Day cards this year, and this set of cards will be perfect. So I love the sentiment, you deserve all the best, and I'll probably stamp Happy Father's Day on the inside. For card design number 2, the card sketch is from Sweet Sunday. It's number 218. For this card, I selected one of the grid pattern papers for the background that has the look of torn paper in the lower left-hand corner. For the 2 narrow banners on the left side, I'm using solid colored cardstock, dark brown, and this is the same color I'll layer the background on. And for the slightly shorter banner, I selected a light green that matches the pattern paper. I'll cut a fishtail on the bottom, adhere the brown banner down first, making sure to have it flush at the very top of this panel. And before I adhere the green banner, I will put a narrow scrap piece of cardstock on the right side. That way it stays at the same level. Then I'll adhere the green banner down, making sure to get it lined up nice and straight. Now I'll put ATG tape on the back, layer my pattern paper piece on dark brown cardstock. And again, this is an additional 1/8 of an inch. The pattern paper layer is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Then I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. This card will feature another ephemera image, picture of someone fishing. Now on the card sketch, the image panel is a rectangle, but I'm substituting it for a square. For the piece behind the ephemera, I used some more of the dark brown cardstock, just adhered them at different angles. To adhere the ephemera piece down, I'll pop it up using foam dimension, but I won't add any foam dimension on the very left side of the ephemera piece since it'll sit on top of the 2 cardstock banners. The foam I use is from scrapbook.com. It's their brand new black foam, the 1/4 inch roll in the 1 millimeter thickness. I'll put a little bit of barely art glue on the left side that sits on the 2 banners. For a sentiment, I've already stamped out For You. Use more craft cardstock and brown ink, and I'll adhere it in the lower right-hand corner of the ephemera piece. For embellishments, this time I'm using some Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is the brown color in the mini circle style, and I selected the medium size circle. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 3, the card sketch is from Sweet Sunday. This is number 230. For the background of my card, selected this fun distress argyle design. I'm layering it on some dark green cardstock. This is just more cardstock from my stash. I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. If you don't like the look of the white cardstock showing, you could add an additional 1/4 of an inch for that background layer so it's a full A2 size. For the other 2 rectangle pieces on the card, I'm using solid cardstock, but I thought I would distress them using some ink. I've already stamped the sentiment, always take the scenic route on the lighter craft colored cardstock. And the ink color I'm using on both of the cardstock pieces is Distress Oxide Gathered Twigs. I'll ink up both of the pieces on a cut down version of Scrapbook.com's Project Grip Mat, focusing more on the outside edges of each of the cardstock pieces. On the green piece, I decided to add some splatter. I'm using the same Gathered Twigs ink color. I'll press a little bit on an acrylic block, spritz it with water, then I'll gently tap a paintbrush over the green cardstock piece, creating this fun brown splatter. Now while I let that piece dry, I'll layer the sentiment piece on the same dark green cardstock. The green cardstock piece is mostly dry. I'm trying to be careful. So instead of flipping it over and putting ATG tape on the back, I'll put glue on the back and layer that piece on the same dark green cardstock. Now I'll add the green piece in the lower left-hand corner. Adhere that down using Barely Art glue. When inking the green cardstock piece, I didn't put as much brown ink on the right side since I knew that would be covered up by the sentiment. So when gluing it down, I made sure to adhere it so there's more of that brown distress ink on the left side. The sentiment piece will go in the lower right-hand corner. On the very right side of the sentiment, I'm adding foam dimension. This is the same 1mm foam I used on a previous card. And on the left side of the sentiment, I'll add a scrap piece of cardstock. Remove the release paper from the foam, put Barely Art glue on the back of the rest of that piece and adhere it in place. Trying to make sure to get it nice and straight on the card. On the left side of the sentiment, there's all that white space. Thought it would be fun to add a couple of pine branches. I cut these out from the same dark green cardstock I used from the background, and the die set is from Pretty Pink Posh. It's their Pine Sprigs die set. I selected 2 of them, and I'll adhere them on the left side of the sentiment. Using the same green cardstock color, I cut out a small piece. I'll cut a fishtail on the bottom, then I'll cut the right side in slightly at an angle, flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, creating this fun whimsical banner. Put Barely Art glue on the back and I'll adhere it in the upper right-hand corner. For a final finishing touch, I'll add 2 of the enamel dots in the upper right-hand corner of the green cardstock panel. I'll first add a small drop of Barely Art glue, then I'll add 2 of the medium-size enamel dots. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For card design number 4, the card sketch is from Cards TV. This is sketch number 61. For the very background of my card, I selected one of the stripe designs. For the strip that goes down the center, it has a lot of different text and it looks like torn paper. I'll adhere that piece down the center of the stripe paper. For a little bit of separation, I'll add a Love from Lizi peel off along the edge of that centerpiece. This is the pinstripe style in brown, and I'm using the medium width. I'm able to use some of the scrap pieces of peel-offs since I will be adding an ephemera piece and also a cardstock strip going across. So I'll be covering up those gap areas that don't have the peel-offs. I'll wrap the ends around the back, then I'll layer this piece on some dark green cardstock. On the back side, you can see the ends of the peel-offs. By adding extra adhesive on the back, it just ensures the peel-offs won't come off later. Next, I'll add the craft cardstock piece across the card. Before adhering it down, I will put a scrap piece of cardstock on the right and left side, just in the area where it goes over that middle pattern paper strip. Now I'll put glue on the back and adhere it in place. And here is where I make a mistake. I didn't realize my card front was actually upside down. So after gluing that craft cardstock strip down, I noticed a gap of the peel-offs. And then looking closer, I realized the text on the pattern paper was also upside down. I thought about just going with it. It's okay if the text is upside down, but since you could see the gap from the peel-offs, I knew this wasn't going to work out. So I did remove the craft cardstock piece, reattach it correctly. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of glue still on the pattern paper. For now, I'll just let it be, and later I'll try to wipe some of it off. But the nice thing about the pattern paper, it has that very grunge distressed look, so that little bit of glue isn't very visible. You can feel it slightly with your fingers, but I don't think the card is ruined. Instead of the circle element that's on the sketch, I'm substituting it for the square ephemera piece. Selected one of the hikers. I'll layer this piece on some dark green cardstock. For a sentiment, I've already stamped Thinking of You on some light green cardstock. I'll adhere that piece down first, putting it at the bottom of the craft strip. And before adhering the ephemera piece down, I'll put scrap cardstock on the back, making sure it stays at the same level. I'll need a little extra cardstock behind the top area and a teeny tiny cardstock strip on the very lower left-hand corner. For a final finishing touch, I'll use more of the enamel dots. Selected the dark brown color. I'll put 3 in the upper right-hand corner and 2 underneath the ephemera image on the left side. I love using a mix of bling or enamel dot sizes, so it's nice that this set includes 3 different sizes. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. For the second card, instead of enamel dots, I used some of the mini circle peel-offs. For card design number 5, and this is my final card design, the card sketch is from Mojo Monday. It's sketch number 543. For the background of my card, I'm using craft cardstock. I did cut a full panel 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, although you'll only see a tiny bit on the right side. For pattern paper, I'm using this rust colored grid design. I'll adhere it on the left side of the craft cardstock piece. For a little bit of separation, I'll add a Love from Lizi peel off, putting it on the right side of the pattern paper. And I'm using more of the small scrap pieces since most of that area will be covered up. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some dark brown cardstock. Then I'll put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For this small rectangle piece in the upper right-hand corner, selected the checkerboard green pattern paper, and I did layer it on the same dark brown cardstock. I'll put glue on the back and adhere it in place, making sure to get it nice and straight. For the strip that goes across the card, using some light tan cardstock, and I will layer it on the same dark brown cardstock. Before adhering it down, I'll put a scrap piece of pattern paper on the right side. Then I'll put glue on the back and adhere this strip right underneath the checkerboard pattern paper piece. Instead of the large circle element that's on the sketch, I'll be using one of the ephemera pieces. It's a little bit too small to fit in that area, so I'll layer it first on some green cardstock, then again on some dark brown cardstock. The green cardstock piece is 2 3/8 of an inch, and the brown cardstock piece is 2 3/4 of an inch. In the upper right-hand corner of the ephemera piece, I've gone ahead and stamped the sentiment, "Just want to say hello." I love using general sentiments whenever I can. That way the card can be used for lots of different occasions. To finish off the card, using more of the enamel dots, I'll put 3 in the upper right hand corner, put 2 medium, 1 small in the center. Then I'll also add 2 of the small enamel dots on the left side of the ephemera piece. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. Now here's another look at the 10 cards I made using Not Too Shabby Shop's brand new masculine mini bundle. This is a great bundle, perfect for making masculine or feminine cards for your outdoor friends. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. This video is part of a fun YouTube hop, so there's lots of inspiration using the new masculine mini bundle. And I have all the information in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.